Slicing this really quick.
What's up, everyone? I'll unmute you there, Justin, as you get your ice water. What are you drinking today, buddy?
I'm just making my iced coffee really quick right now. I picked up a little coffee before the show, and I forgot I did not want it just hot. I'm not drinking hot coffee in the middle of the summer right now, so I just had to get my coffee over ice.
I feel you.
But there we go.
Welcome back to Market Movers. It's been a while since we've done one. I had a couple days off there, but I'm fired up, ready to go. Huge slate, very interesting weather across the country. Very much different than what we've seen over the last week or so. So it should be a fun slate. I think you said you just submitted a few picks to Sportsline as well. So you're going to have more action today. Try and carry that. What's the streak up to now?
So 8-0 in the last 3 days on the early edge. Yeah, pretty crazy. So yeah, kind of running hot. It's been fun. I mean, my bookie hasn't texted me about last week yet, which is pretty characteristic. He still owes me from the week before, actually. So it's been kind of fun. I've been running hot. I actually have, I bet a little differently than I like publish sometimes in Sportsline, and how we sort of run things is I'm not going to bet a whole slate every single day. It would take forever. So, I use what my numbers and my models sort of create to be the strongest plays and use those. And so, look, we've been hot. I've been hot, even on those minor edges too, which is really fun to see. So, we're just going to keep going at it. I did just put 3 plays up on the board, so I'm not really going to sit around and worry oh no, I have to stay perfect. Yeah, it's 0-0 today, man. You can't act like I need to tiptoe and stay hot. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and if it happens to keep winning, it happens to keep winning.
You might get the jersey treatment. I think that was my favorite thing that's ever happened to me, kind of. So earlier this year when I hit 20 in a row, right? 20-0, someone made a jersey with the number 20 with my last name on it. It was either a Mets or a Cubs jersey. I couldn't tell from the photo, right? With the number 20 on it to commemorate 20 wins, but they didn't send it to me. They just kept it for themselves with my name on it, which was interesting. That's
kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. I like it.
It sounds
like you're going to get that treatment here. If you get the 20, you're going to get a Yankees jersey shipped to you. Would you get number 20 on it for the 20 wins, or how would you do that?
So, all right. Here's how I'll request. I'm going to request a little lenience because my number growing up playing sports was always 17. So we'll go for 17, and then if we can, that's where we'll cap the jersey mark for me, because that would just be pretty cool to get a 17 streak. I've never done it. I have that somewhat infamous 15-0 March Madness run over those 2 days in that first round, where somehow every single game on this first Saturday and Sunday of March. I don't know how. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. These runs are so improbable. But look, we're going to keep grinding. We're going to keep doing it. It's been a lot of fun. It's really fun when these things hit. But it doesn't, the process doesn't really differ, which is probably the coolest part about it, right? We don't change our game plan. This is the same thing we have been doing, the same things we have been talking about. It's just, these are the types of runs that when you sort of tabulate your wins and losses at the end of the year, make you net positive. So we take it. And we keep going, and we get to sort of enjoy the games. But let's get into it. I mean, we have a really great slate today. We have a game starting right now. Am I incorrect about that? We're about to get first pitch in the Cincinnati Reds Minnesota Twins game.
Yeah, it probably has already happened. I haven't pulled it up to watch it live, but yeah, it was Ober, I believe is how you pronounce it, against Wade Miley. I didn't run the game because it was an early morning game. No real thoughts on it other than the Twins crush left-handed pitching. They don't have Josh Donaldson in the lineup, but they do have Nelson Cruz, Polanco, Sano in there.
Is Ober is he a lefty?
He's a righty.
Right. That's what I
Wade
thought.
Miley,
Okay.
lefty for the Reds.
Ah,
So, yep.
right. So yeah, my only thought on this was to watch Jesse Winker today. He's been a little bit under his average. He's like top 5 in the National League in OPS and even better against righties. He's a left-handed hitter. So I was going to watch him. He did just walk. So, it's a pretty good sign. He probably in store for a pretty good day. Ober is distinctly bad against left-handed hitting. It's kind of ridiculous. So I did lean over on this one, but again, weather is going to be super interesting today. I was very hesitant to play too many overs in terms of my leans, but I don't know. This one should be interesting. I think a lot of people are going to be taking both sides. I mean, Cincy, I don't know. I saw some people say getaway game for Cincy. I saw some people say, important home game for Minnesota, but there's no Buxton or Donaldson today, right?
Yep. Yeah, Buxton, how about that? Comes back and gets injured, in the first game back? Gets hit by a pitch, injured again. Just brutal. The only comment I have on this is the Twins were a very clear sharp side in the market. Chief seems to be in agreement with that one as well. But
what's up, Chief?
There was 60 to 65% of the action coming in on the Reds. The money splits were much closer to 50, if not a little more on the Twins. So it was, there's also actual sharp signals on the tracking, but I didn't have a play on it. I believe Zach was on it from the early edge. I believe he played the Twins. So that's one to watch. I like to see that when he's on the sharp side of the game. Nationals, Phillies. You got any more comments on this one? Sorry.
No, I think a couple other people had some plays on it. I know SDQL went one on, I think, on the Twins, and then also I think Matt Severance, who I'm excited to bring into the video fold tonight at 5 p.m. Nice. He's on the Reds plus 1.5, and I'm making a run at him, but he's been consistent. So very interesting to see how this one goes. If it's a 1-run win for the Twins, just know the sports line guys are going to be pretty happy today. So
no doubt.
All right,
no doubt.
What's going on with this Phillies game? I didn't see lines for this.
Yeah, there's no pitcher yet. So on the national side, we do not have a starting pitcher named to face Zach Wheeler in the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber also questionable for the Nationals. Mm-hmm. Kind of the theme across the board today, right, is the weather is a lot cooler than it has been. Pretty massive cold front across the country. We're seeing several games in the mid 60s, low 70s, which just a week, over the last week, nearly 2 weeks, we're seeing 80s, 90s, a few games near 100 in Kansas City and Denver. Not the case today. Definitely going to play a little more mild, but I have not simulated this one because I do not have a starting pitcher. I'm guessing based on the line that has been released that it's probably Max Scherzer.
It looks like it's the probable pitcher is Scherzer. I do not think they have confirmed it yet, which is interesting.
Okay, yeah, we're getting some of that in there. Chief is pulling my hood on the sweatshirt. I don't know what he's trying to tell us today, but it looks like he wants Max Scherzer and the Nationals to be the dog of the day, apparently. Wow. So Max Scherzer plus 110 against the Phillies. That's officially Chief's dog of the day because that's the only reason he could be biting at me right now at this point. I didn't run the game yet because I didn't have pitching info. I would assume that if the Nationals remain plus 110, as long as Scherzer is indeed going to go, I would definitely be listing the pitchers on this one if I were to bet it. I would assume that my model is going to have slight edge on the Nationals, probably going to make the lines flipped, probably going to be minus 115 on the Scherzer side. So that's why we're going to call it Chiefs dog of the day, even though it's a very, very slight dog.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think what we're probably looking at is a good way to play maybe an under there. I know it's at 6.5. There's a little bit of juice. I don't hate minus 120 for the situation you're getting if it is these picks. I'm probably not going to throw that on Sportsline, but it was something that I noticed was one of the worst hitting conditions of the day, which is pretty staunch considering it's a pretty bad day in general. A lot of negative impact, not like severe, but still like pretty subpar hitting conditions. I know, like I jumped on one of my plays. We can move into our next game here. well, this is a pretty far down game, but we'll skip around a little. My next play is one of the ones that I saw had some pretty bad hitting conditions, which was going to be, in this Braves game for that under. So that's going to be an interesting one to see what's going on there.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I have a lot of other thoughts on these games. I know we have Garrett Cole going tonight against the Royals. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
It's a very interesting spot. So it's at Yankee Stadium, still somewhat friendly hitting environment, massive negative VMI for the Royals, pretty meaningful negative right? VMI for the Yankees. As far as hitting conditions goes, this game is going to play like an April game, like a mid-April game at Yankee Stadium. It is not going to play like a late June game at all.
No.
Having said that, I do not hate the contrarian overplay in this game in particular. I'm very nervous and interested to see what we're going to get from Garrett Cole with him literally walking to the mound, checking out hats, gloves, everything, even random points during the game between innings. He's someone who's been very vocal about it. He's someone who's been very vocal about starting pitchers needing something to help them. So it's going to be very interesting to see where he is at mentally in this game. And then on the other side, I like Brady Singer a lot. I think that he's still going to be an extremely high variance starting pitcher for another year or two. When he's right, he's going to shut any lineup down, right? When he's wrong, it's five runs in the second inning, second inning, right?
But this could be one of those scenarios that he's right. Is honestly, I think he has a pretty good probability of that tonight, honestly.
I don't disagree with you normally, which is why everything is where it is. All I can say on this is that the Yankees still have enough power. It's not like the weather conditions are not great. I mean, not at all. No. They're negative for Yankee Stadium, but being negative for Yankee Stadium, it's still a fine hitting environment. Like it is still an environment where I would expect, I'm not expecting Garrett Cole to be the ace that he is. I'm not expecting him to pitch deep into the game, knowing that he has to err on the side of caution and can't use anything at all to help him tonight. I am very concerned with how much it has bothered him and how public he has been about it bothering him. I just think it's an interesting spot for a contrarian over. That is probably where I would look if I had to play this game. But overall, I've stayed away from it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on it. I think, look, Singer and most of the Kansas City Royal staff is relatively inexperienced. They pitch at one of the worst parks to pitch in baseball. So they're often, going into environments where they can get a little bit more help from those factors. I would agree Yankee Stadium isn't really one of those places. But what there is always a case of with the Yankees is them just totally not helping Cole. Like you said, it's going to play like an April game. That should help Singer, if anything. It's going to be cool tonight. It's still a little humid here in the city. Actually, I'm actually going to the Yankee game tomorrow. So hearing that Garrett Cole's pitching tonight was a little annoying because I thought, maybe he gets a little, but it's all right. We'll get to see a little more fireworks. I do agree with your take. I think the Yankees do probably win this though. Royals offense has been a little subpar, but I wanted to talk about like the grip spider tack really quick because I think it's a really interesting problem to have in the game because it's been around for so long in one way or another. Pitchers have always used something to help them get a grip. I don't know how many people are so aware of it, but brand new baseballs are like taken to the back of clubhouses and like rolled in mud and dust to try to sort of wear the sheen and the shine off of it. Because if you have a brand new baseball, it's like slippery and pitchers need to be able to grab something. And, we've seen injuries to these guys who, use spider tack. Glasnow's on the injured list. Bieber's on the injured list, and these guys have not been totally, discreet about the fact that they use something or another to get that grip. And I was watching a little bit of why it's so important. And when you don't have the ability to grip it, you literally need to hold the ball harder. You need to strain your arm more to keep that ball locked in your hand to attain similar spin rates. So it leads to more muscle strain, leads to more, repetitive motion in a more strained position. And then injuries happen because all of that force is in that, ulnar area. It's so look, I'm not the biggest fan, honestly, of this rule change. I think it's pretty bad for the game. I understand why they do it because it looks really bad, and they're really sensitive about like anything that's called a foreign substance. But you can't lay this on pitchers who did this in the middle of spring in like spring training. You need to implement rules in the middle of the year, but whatever. You're going to see more injuries. is the bottom line. You're going to see more injuries to pitchers.
Definitely. I mean, we talked about that even as early as 2 weeks ago when they first started having any clue about this. So I personally also think this is a spot where, again, we talk about it all the time. You will probably disagree because you love Garrett Cole and your New York Yankees, but I think at plus 230, it's a spot where you could blindly bet the Royals and probably not lose a lot of money long term if you're committed to doing that every time. I think that there's as far as Garrett Cole goes, he's not a high variance pitcher really at all. This might be the highest variance start from Garrett Cole all season, right? Other than the fact that the weather's not impacting him extremely negatively, but like he could come out here and shut everyone up with a complete game shutout, or he could really elevate that pitch count by having to grip the ball harder, miss a lot of spots. He could have 100 pitches in 5.5 innings, right?
I have no idea what's going to happen. It's must-watch TV though.
For sure. If you like baseball at all, this is definitely one you're going to want to watch. Garrett Cole is, like I said, he's been very, very vocal about using a foreign substance, thinking everyone should be required or allowed to use the substance. Definitely not in the camp of I've never used a substance. So definitely going to be
and I mean, I think, I think it's good that he's open about it because it sort of creates this whole like bit of them trying to hide it if you're not. Like, oh man, they're using something they know no, like everybody's doing it, man. Like look around, everybody's spin rates are falling. It's not like this is something that only a couple guys are using. There might be people who are more vocal about it and maybe who get more from it than others, but I don't know. I'm pretty anti rule checking. I think you sort of let the game go as planned. There's sticky stuff on the bats. You're going to take that away next. Bats are going to fly into the stands. I mean, what do you want? Like, you're going to see more batters get hit now because spinning balls are going to come off their fingers before they mean to, and it's going to veer to the left against a right-handed batter. And like, what do you expect? You're going to see more hit by pitches. You're going to see more batters injured. You're going to see more pitchers injured. And it's because you're implementing a rule in the middle of the season.
Yep. Could not agree more. You want to move to Astros Orioles?
Let's do it.
This one was fun last night. I didn't get to participate too much, obviously, because I had the day off, but I like the Astros on the run line a lot. I stacked them heavily in daily fantasy, obviously.
Your fantasy
they
stuff
came
did well.
through. Yes, they came through.
I'm back on this game. I think you have to be on the Astros. Astros are not like an official play to me, but most projections have them winning by at least a run. It's just Jorge Lopez is not the type of pitcher that the Astros are going to have any problem with. He's just below average, period. So they should have no problem.
Yep. Any other thoughts on it? The only thought I have is just it's kind of like the Yankee game, right? It's not the best hitting environment overall at the park for this time of season, but all things considered, it's still a very fine place to hit a baseball, right?
Yeah.
So
of course. Look, there's no reason. I'll be probably talking a little bit more about this game in depth on the early edge hour in about 3.5 hours when we go there. But this is a great spot. It's a great spot. You can't. I mean, Astros are one of the best over teams in baseball, the best offensive baseball by a good hop and a step. So, look, I'll say more later. That's for sure.
There you go. White Sox at Pirates. White Sox is one that I wanted to play this morning. Larry got to the email thread before I did on this one.
Yeah.
Did like the White Sox on the run line -1.5, -105. I make them all the way up to -130 on the run line in this one against Tyler Anderson. It's a pretty big, meaningful edge. Another one where if you're looking for additional value, I do not hate laying the -2. Bring that up to plus money. You still get that push condition if they cover the run line. So that's one of those spots where it only happens, maybe 5-10 times a year total. but this definitely qualifies as one of those.
Yep, I'm totally with you. I'm basically like in that same camp. Would have basically been a play. Would have been there up on the board. I guess I could put it on Sportsline as a play, and I might drop it on there just to sort of get that win because I do think they win, and I like improving my Sportsline record.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a pretty obvious one, man. I might even like go money line just because I'm not like, like, but run line makes a lot of sense. I actually personally, my book doesn't offer two. They only offered half on spreads.
Gotcha.
So I did dabble a little on 2.5 though. I'm not afraid of this one being 3. I mean, we need the same win condition, right? It's just you're gonna push at 2 and I'm gonna win more money at 3. So I like that distribution curve in terms of like where these runs could come in. But I do have a very interesting play. I like the way I see this game is very interesting. I was talking about it in your Discord at some length this morning. I'm not really so afraid of Anderson in terms of him blowing up. He actually has held some offenses, some pretty good offenses, to some low numbers in this park. Now, look, I think that you could very well see this be like a 2 or 3 run game into the 5th, and then it really open up at the end of the game as the White Sox sort of come alive. And of course, Anderson always sort of runs into trouble later in games. So I was talking about the under in the first 5. It's not like a full play. It's just something that I'm just going to wink at you guys at and then win a little money for myself. So we'll see. Anderson, 6.5% walk rate. He is not going to give free passes, 36% hard hit rate. So, I mean, the slugging being high, even with a low hard hit rate, is like kind of interesting because it usually means he's like hanging breaking balls. But we'll see. I think this should be a good one. I'm definitely personally on the White Sox. So.
Yep. I think that the only thing I like to mention here is, I like to point it out every time that this is something that happens, but I think a lot of people need to be more aware of it. And that's going to be the fact that it is a league shift for the White Sox. So they will not have a designated hitter against left-handed pitching that they crush so well. The reason why that is important is the guy that's not going to be in the lineup, your man Mercedes. He's not going to be able to play today. He's going to have to pinch hit later on. He might be their best hitter against left-handed pitching. He is one of them for sure. His splits between left versus right are just absolutely insane. Like they could let him catch the game if they wanted to. I don't think that they will, but they could. No. And then that means Yasmani Grandal would sit. And I don't picture him catching Giolito on the road, especially. So what happens here is he's 289 weighted on base average, 84 weighted runs created plus against righties, 385 and 148 against left-handed pitching. Not going to be in the lineup for the White Sox. No designated hitter. Giolito will be hitting at the plate. That is a significant downgrade. It's a downgrade anytime an American League team plays in the National League. In this particular spot, it is a massive downgrade for this offense. So that's why I feel more comfortable on the run line. The distributions have it there as well, but
it's hard. It's hard to sort of remember that almost sometimes when you're thinking about how this is going to go. And it's so important because a given out is essentially what you're getting at the end of a lineup. And it creates like such a different level of continuity in hitting for lineups when you have American League and National League teams, and you can't, you're in the bottom third of your lineup and there's one out, like, the pitcher's up next. It's almost like a given out. Like you might, if you're lucky, you get an advanced base runner, but you're already looking at a spot that, the moment you get an out in an inning, your run expectancy jumps off a cliff, man. Because it's so important. Right. And I'm gonna, go a little mathy here, but one out is infinitely more times how many outs than 0. Like it's just, you can't, it is, yes, it's one more, but like, it completely shuts down what is expected to happen in any inning. So, we'll just, we'll keep running with, maybe in a first 5 under, and then the bullpen to probably have some problems with the White Sox, which is a lot of times how they do things. But my prediction was 2-1 White Sox coming out of the 5th, and then 7-1 White Sox at the end. So we'll see.
Wow. Yep. We will see. Hunter, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Always love to see you hanging out there. All right. Next game
logos,
going
Hunter.
to be, yes, definitely. Always thank you to Hunter. If you guys are into NFTs at all, definitely the man you want to hit up and follow there. Cardinals.
Me, but whatever.
You know,
but okay. Yeah, let's talk about the Cardinals. So I know you talked about this game a little bit this morning. I really do like the plays. Interested to hear what you think about the VMIs being so bad, though, in relation to how you're playing it.
Yeah, the VMIs are not great. I think it's relatively neutral for the Cardinals in general. Just having that league shift, getting a designated hitter in that lineup is kind of the opposite effect of the Chicago White Sox here. So not terribly worried about the air quality. Again, it's another relatively similar situation. We see the big negative VMI number. Not mega concerned with it in terms of like, it's just basically going to play like this was late April, early May, right? It's not going to play like it's a summer afternoon, like we are accustomed to over the last few weeks. But I like it here a lot. If you watch the early edge, I gave you a lot of the reasons, but the reason is obvious. The Cardinals are just simply a much better team against left-handed pitching. It's just night and day difference, which makes a lot of sense when you look at the lineup, right? If you've played daily fantasy, you know this for sure. But if you've followed baseball at all recently, you know that Paul Goldschmidt crushes lefties. Nolan Arenado crushes lefties. Yadier Molina crushes lefties. Like they're literally going to throw probably 9 right-handed hitters out there against Scooball tonight. 8 for sure, possibly 9. With switch hitters and Edman and Carlson at the top of the lineup. It's a totally different team. Giving them the designated hitter is just, it can't be understated for them, especially when their baseline is not having one. It's definitely a big deal for them. But Screwball, as I mentioned, the home run splits versus left and right is just alarming, right? He's death on left-handed hitters. Really not great against righties. 2.5 home runs per 9 innings to right-handed hitters this year. That's always going to be facing in this game. So I went over all the numbers. I made them 50, just over 56, about 56.5%. Should be minus 128, minus 129. Also played it on the run line, coming back at plus 145. And I think that's where I've seen the most line movement, actually. I want to see where it's at currently at William Hill. But I think that's where, it's plus 140 now. So just 5 cents of movement on that one. But they're typically giving me a better price than anywhere else. I'm guessing if I went to DraftKings right now, that plus 145 is going to be like plus 130. So William Hill's definitely giving me the best price on run lines. Let's see.
That was the first time I've ever sneezed in a stream. So
that
was pretty fun.
Yep.
There you go.
Plus 130 exactly on DraftKings. It's really funny. You do it long enough and every single day you can almost guess what the difference is going to be from book to book on the price. But for me, it's a 15-cent difference from playing it at William Hill versus DraftKings when the money line on the game is the exact same.
Right.
So
worth every penny. Literally.
Sure.
And I was talking to some people about it yesterday. It's so funny how, like, I think the way the numbers are sort of presented as lines can almost trick the mind into misunderstanding what it actually represents. And I think you need to talk about the movement in terms of cents on the dollar, right? You see it move. Oh, it moved from 110 to 115. Like, oh, it moved 5. Like 5. Like, no. That is 5% of every dollar that you have bet. So it's a big deal. That's every $20 you bet, you're giving the book another $1 for a 5-cent move. So we're just trying to, maybe change that tone around what these numbers kind of mean and how you see them, because, a true professional bettor is going to know very, very well that every cent counts in the long run. And what sort of that's the line, probably, I would say, that separates somebody who truly understands and appreciates, what the numbers and all these things mean. Understanding that every cent and every line movement matters a little bit in the long run. you want to beat the market at the end of the day. That's all it's about.
Most definitely. You ready for the next game?
Yeah, please. We're sort of we're weaving and winding through these games right now. I love it. I love it. I missed Market Movers, Mike. I missed
right.
it.
I know. I miss it too. It is. I love all the shows that we were involved in. It is still one of my favorites because I like to just be able to talk and kind of nerd out on some of the stuff a little bit. So I love it. Toronto at Miami. I think this one was interesting for me personally. I'm projecting the roof to be open in Miami. That is good news. Doesn't happen often. The wind is blowing in. Not a big of a deal as you might think. The air quality itself and the properties of the air are going to be far more important than that wind. 61 air density index, positive VMI for Toronto going to Miami. It's just kind of crazy. Very neutral VMIs overall. So what this means is we're going to have conditions that are going to look and feel like normal, right? But they're going to be increased because the roof is open, making it not as bad of an environment for the Blue Jays here. So I like this spot a lot. I played the over at 7.5. I made it 8.6. Yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on it, but my only other real thought was Alcantara's been great, except for against a really good hitting team like this one.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on that analysis on Alcantara. He's just, one of those pitchers that when he doesn't have like much of a challenge, he's okay, but like teams that can really get to him do get to him. So look, I'm with you. I love this Blue Jays offense. I think this is probably if you ever want to just play the Blue Jays and if you wanted to support the Blue Jays all year, I would be playing them this way, just playing them on the over. They're one of the best hitting teams in baseball. They have the threat to do this every night. They're one of the best long ball hitting teams out there. I mean, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is just so fun to watch. So I'm with you on it. Again, this is it's very interesting to see a team traveling to a new environment and not having a negative VMI on a day like today where there's so many negative VMIs out there because of like the weather patterns across the country. So definitely interested to watch this one, expecting some fireworks that maybe the market doesn't really see coming. But that's why we love those models, Mike, right? I mean, that's what it's all about.
That is literally what it's all about. Only other piece of news that I can give you in this one that is also going to, in theory, help our cause. The Blue Jays are likely to get George Springer back today.
Ooh, wow. That's really big news. I mean, that just totally changes their lineup and how the pitchers approach their lineup. And with how, Bo Bichette and Teoscar Hernandez are playing right now, it's just this lineup is, with him in it, it's going to start to rival that Houston Astros lineup.
Yep. And Simeon gets to move to a more appropriate batting spot of 6th, which is actually going to help the back end of that lineup a ton.
Oh, yeah.
So I like this a lot for them. But that's enough on that. You should have all caught it on the Sportsline Early Edge this morning. So
I have a game.
Let's see it.
I have a good one. How would you feel about the matchup of of the two hottest offenses right now? This is like the two best WOBA teams in the last 2 weeks are meeting up in the Giants and the Angels. And the total, I believe, was listed at 9. This was like about to be one of my picks on Sportsline. I did dabble on it a little bit, but I'm starting to feel like it might be a trap. Do you have any thoughts on this one? I mean, San Francisco with a positive VMI, wind blowing out, Angel Stadium, a good hitting environment. Is it too easy?
As far as the over is what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the over is appropriately priced when it gets to 9. I would have fired on it if 8.5 had existed probably, but if you like it, I think that it's still fine. I don't hate playing it at that number, but for me, I'm kind of interested in the Giants as underdogs here as well, getting the designated hitter in that lineup. I don't have the edge. I wish I did. I wish that I could say over for sure. That's certainly where my head leans. That's certainly where, you asked me what I thought this game would be. I think that it should be 9.5. The model says 8.9 runs. Not much I can do about it at that point. Other than to tell you that I like them. I will probably be playing a few of the players in daily fantasy tonight. And it's another one of those National League teams getting a big positive. Well, I would say big positive VMI, excellent hitting environment shift overall, and the designated hitter. So I like the Giants. I think it's a fine spot to back them as plus 116 underdogs. If you like the over, play it.
Yep. So. It actually opened at 8.5.
Yeah.
So there has been some steam towards 9. Again, I think like this thing about this line is you're pretty almost like the probability to push here tonight is high. Like, I think this probably comes in like right at 6-3 or 5-4 or something along those lines. 6-3 Giants sounds about right, honestly. So, I'm not really messing with it. Again, I did take a small bit on it for that over because these offensives have just been so good. Like the Angels really quietly without Mike Trout are just killing it. And I know Ohtani is just raking, but man, without like this, it's honestly impressive. I do not think anyone thought that they would be like the second best team in WOBA over the last 15 days right now, or 6, but they've been up there. And, we've won some bets on them in this run, right? I think I hit on them
definitely.
Thursday and Friday against the Tigers was great, but man, I don't know. This is going to be a very interesting game. I laid off the money line. I laid off the side because I think either team could have it tonight and either pitcher could let it up. I mean, but at the same time, DeSclafani has been really, really nice on the road. But then you look at the environments in which those road games were in, and you're like, that's not Angel Stadium. So, I'm just going to watch. I'm going to watch that one.
Yeah, I'll watch it and watch the line movement this afternoon. But, we talk about the clear pitching advantage for the Giants. I would say maybe. I would not say extreme. As you mentioned, the pitching environments he's pitched in have been incredibly friendly for him overall.
Yeah.
Now it is not so friendly. League shift facing a designated hitter. You go to next thing you want to look at that point is the expected data as well. You look at his expected data, 252 actual, 298 expected. That 298 expected is still a great number, and it's going to put him just a little ahead of league average. However, you're still looking at, almost a 50-point delta for someone who's had very friendly pitching conditions. Now he's not going to have that. If there is a spot, essentially what we do for a living is to pinpoint the spot where something is going to move from what we've seen. And that's literally what we're looking for every day. This is one spot where that could happen. So I don't, again, disagree. I wish my model didn't have it at 8.9. I wish it was 9.9 somehow and I could play it because my heart wants to go with the over.
I agree.
A lot of fireworks, especially in that Angels lineup. You just mentioned how good they are. When they get Mike Trout back, like you look at the home run leaders in Major League Baseball, you've got Ohtani in there and you've got Walsh in there. Now you got a healthy Rendon. Upton is hitting well with confidence, and you bring Mike Trout back. The Angels could potentially make the playoffs for once.
It would be great if Trout comes back really healthy, starts really killing it. They can start managing this roster, play well through the season. I mean, we've started to have the conversation a lot more about players' health and managing it in the NBA. And I think the average fan is a lot more aware of injury management, I guess actions that teams take in order to preserve their players. But as you watch baseball more and more, that's very much there too, right? Certain players get days off, you get rest days, and we can bet around those things and make money by knowing that while other people maybe don't. So I think it makes a huge difference to get Trout back and to be able to say, okay, we have enough firepower to win this game without Walsh. We can give Ohtani a day off of hitting because, blah, 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 blah. You understand what I'm saying. So I'm very excited to see what the Angels do. I'm a big Mike Trout fan. I mean, he's a New Jersey kid, right? Harper's the Vegas kid, and Trout's the Jersey kid. So, he's from essentially, tri-state area type of guy. I'm a big Mike Trout fan. I love seeing him play, and he's just a special player. So very excited for him to get healthy and get back on this team. Yep.
Could not agree more with that. I just answered the question in the chat, but I'll mention it real quick if it hasn't loaded. Andrew Heaney, the question was his expected numbers, 320. Going to be right around league average with the conditions tonight. we're basically looking at a matchup, in my opinion, of two league average starting pitchers.
Right.
In this matchup. That's how I am forecasting it to play. So
cool. I mean, are there any other ones that you really want to touch on? The Reds are currently winning, which is about right for what we expected to happen. There's some interesting ones on there. I know Oakland, Texas. I definitely lean towards Oakland to even the series up. Milwaukee and Arizona, I stayed way away from. Rockies on the road. If you've ever listened to me talk, you probably know how I'm going to play that. I know
how
you're
about,
taking.
Cubs. We have some interesting nuggets in the Cubs game. So we'll talk about umpires briefly, real quickly. This one is super interesting. Tripp Gibson, home plate umpire in the Chicago Cubs game. He has called 13 games so far this season. He is 2-11 on the over-under. 11 of the 13 games have gone under with an average of 6 runs per game. The called strike percentage here is almost 65%, around 3% higher than some of his colleagues, I guess you would say.
That's
so
crazy.
The next interesting thing we need to do, like 13 games, while at 11 out of 13, that's starting to at least raise your eyebrows, right? So you need to go look at some of the other games. Go back to 2020. He called 26 games. The over-under was 8-18 for 69% under. Again, over 64% on the called strike percentage. So over this guy's last 40 games, you're blindly betting on it. You're hitting the over literally at 70%. Literally 70%. One of the most profitable betting systems in the world. Next, we'll go back to 2019, 57 game sample size, 26-30, still 54% to the under. It's right at the point, money. Assuming that you're getting an average line and getting it at the right time. If you're betting a 110, or maybe somehow you're generously getting minus 108, like you're profitable for now a 100 game sample size over 2.5 years by blindly betting the under on Tripp Gibson.
Right. And then you're not only profitable, you're profitable in every year. Like he could have technically had a down year in 2018 and you'd still be up so big from his 2020. Like it's,
he didn't. 2019 was also an under year. I'll see about 2017.
Oh my gosh.
2017, he had 115 games, 50-50, exactly 57-1. He has not had a year. We'll see about 2016. I don't even know if I have that data. Let's see. 2016.
That's crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't care too much about it at this point. Yeah, he's still neutral there.
Of course.
In the last 5 years, he has not had anything but a heavy under record.
Legend.
For Tripp Gibson. Absolute legend. He's printing winning tickets for somebody out there for sure.
Somebody out there knows really, really well and is making a lot of money off this guy. But we'll keep watching it. I mean, that's what we're here to do. I mean, I do not pay enough attention to umpires. I've been starting to lean a little bit more on it and taking it into account. I mean, look, it's effective, but it's not like perfect. You know, most umpires do a good job at keeping things relatively neutral. And, you know, you have to really bet every single time in order to reap benefits of every single system, sports line, market movers, whichever one. Whenever you're seeing any of us on here, no one's in the business is ever going to tell you that cherry picking is going to work. It might, but you are increasing your variance by more than what the person you're following has, right? Like we have a steady stream, and if you're like, well, I don't agree with that one, but I agree with that one. Well, if you get the one wrong that you agree with and I get the one right that you don't agree with, then I'm up 2 units on you and you're mad at me that I led you astray. So, you know, it doesn't work that way, bro.
Can I tilt you on this umpire situation in Chicago just a little bit?
Let's do it. Yeah.
So you might remember the day was June 17th, 2021, and you had a bet on, I believe, the over that involved Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah.
Against Stroman here. There was 2 runs scored in the game with 20 strikeouts. Home plate umpire, Tripp Gibson. Tonight at Wrigley Field, we have Kyle Hendricks on the mound again for another Tripp Gibson start.
Wow, they're just
Very
buddies at
fun.
this point. They're
Yep,
buddies at this point.
they are buddies at this point. Man, he's caught a lot of like, wow, that's interesting. Kyle Hendricks starts. Okay.
Mike's that math meme right now, just putting it together for us
For-
all to
for-
make some money
for-
next week.
And for full disclosure, I have 0 plays on this game. I have not played the under. I haven't done any of that. I will let you know, especially if you're on the Discord server. I will let you know if I make the play. I'm just pointing out some what I find to be very interesting data. I don't have the model edges required unless I were to like really go bump up how meaningful I make that data.
Right.
Yeah, that's where we are.
Yep, I'm with you. Sean, who actually just won a free subscription last night on the live show, which is why you should all be in the live show hitting that like button. I'm sure most of you are, but I have to say that, like, what's up, YouTube? Smash that like button, hit that subscribe, so when you were in your feed, that spiel. But Sean's a new free year winner member. That wasn't the right words, but yeah, I'm on the Red Sox tonight in terms of like how I see it. I'm not gonna actually bet it in terms of like making a real bet, but I do think that this one has like good over potential. I think this one is probably Red Sox win this on the over. I know we talk a lot about Tropicana, but I did get a stat today that we'll probably be talking about a little bit about more, that these games do tend to go over between these teams.
Yeah. Eduardo Rodriguez is someone that I've always liked to basically bet on, as the data indicates that he is better than we've seen. He tends to always prove me right for 3.5 to 4 innings. And then things go pretty south pretty quickly there with him. So I would definitely agree with you that if I had to play it, it would be that. My only caution would be, I've told you many times on this show and on the early edge, the best way to pick on the Rays is with 2 very specific things. 1 is with a left-handed pitcher. 2 is when they are at home. So that is why I'm not going to play it. I think that it could very, very easily get the classic Boston-Tampa game that's sitting at 4-4, guaranteed to win the damn game. Like, it's going to happen, right? We know that's going to happen. But this is a spot where I'd be actually looking to blindly back the Red Sox at plus 113. So,
yeah, I'm with you. It should work well. That's just, it's one of those games where they might be able to pull this off. You get a little bit of plus money. You're probably getting a little bit of value on it. Don't hate it. Definitely don't hate it.
Nope. Definitely don't hate it.
But all right. I think
that's all we got for today,
probably, right? Take a little break. We'll be back on the Sportsline channel in about 3 hours. I will be there talking about a lot of stuff. We'll run through games. We have some nice NBA on the slate, so you'll get our thoughts on the NBA stuff there tonight. I believe it's going to be me, Mike, Larry, and then also Matt Severance, as I mentioned, is going to be making his little debut. I'm very excited about it. Again, most of you might know. Yeah. What were you saying?
I don't even know. I'm trying to remember who all's on it. I thought Alan might be on it again today.
He might be on it too.
Yeah, I am not on it today. I'm going
okay.
to potentially join late, but I am not scheduled to do it. I've got some stuff going on this afternoon, but
nice.
I will potentially be back in time to join for the second half of it. Cool. So we'll see, but make sure you guys tune into that on the Sportsline YouTube channel. Follow us all on Twitter. Let me remove this comment so you can see all of the Twitter handles. I don't know how you wouldn't know of Justin's Twitter handle at this point, but go give him a follow over there, and we will see you guys this afternoon.